Like I had a bandana and like a man bun in the back.
Yeah. Like a sweatband or something. I was like, what
Yeah.
has he become? Not that this is much better.
It's not.
It's just a beanie. It's just a hat.
But you're inside. Who wears a beanie inside?
People all the time.
Beanies can be worn inside.
All right.
It's comfortable. It insulates the skull.
Maybe not. Maybe don't be such a beanie bitch.
Oh, I wouldn't be a beanie bitch because I don't like them.
You've been a beanie bitch for a while. I don't know what I just said.
You just said a bit.
Oh man.
So Jay, did you listen to the podcast? Are you recording already?
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
You can
all right.
stop asking that.
Sorry. Okay. Did you listen to the podcast when you were? In
Bits and pieces of it.
Okay. We
What do you
missed it. It's
think?
been a few weeks.
It was good. It was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is always good. Add something different.
Yeah.
Apparently, I
was just
clicked
wondering-
too much. I have to.
Oh, Mackie said that, right?
She said it to you too.
Oh, who else said it?
No, it was her. I guess she's got a real problem with the clicks.
Well, we were talking, and she said, "Oh, I have questions to ask you." And she's like, "But Chris really clicks on that mouse a lot." And I said, "Does he?" And she said, "I said he's probably doing 3 other things."
There's a word to describe her, but I'm not going to say it.
Don't say it on the podcast. Say it. Say it in after
I'll say it
the
to
after
her
party.
face.
Yeah, there you go. Wait a couple weeks and say it to her face.
We have an after party today?
No,
How have you been,
Just-
Jay? I haven't seen you in like a month. Feels like.
I've been good. Been good.
Yeah?
Busy.
You're filling
Yeah.
out a bit.
Well, what was your last week's adventure?
Oh, COVID.
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah, I had COVID.
Oh, how was
Did you
that?
say I'm filling out a bit?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
I just slid it in there.
Oh, I didn't hear him say that.
How was COVID? You're the only Milan to have
It was
COVID.
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Ashley and Grayson had it too.
Well, yeah.
It was memorable. It was a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
It was, I mean, yeah, Grayson seemed to handle it okay, right?
I mean, clearly COVID made me fatter. Is that what you meant? Or
I didn't say fat. I said filled
Fill out.
out.
Maybe he thought you were too skinny before.
You were outside the lines before, but now you're filled in.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
All right.
All right, so it's good. Start off with an insult. All right.
Yeah. Like most other episodes.
No.
Yeah, I've gone back and listened to some of them. They're entertaining.
They're
Are
pretty
they?
good.
I think they are. Yeah, like I listened to the Woodstock one and the dad one. There was one in particular, I can't remember the episode, but you had so much trouble speaking.
Like with words?
Yeah. Like you were like a dummy.
I might have been.
Yeah, it was just funny because you kept saying, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
There was a couple I was very tired.
Okay. There you go.
looking at our analytics, doing
Yeah.
pretty good. No new
All right.
countries.
Damn it.
Ireland, Italy, India, Japan, Australia, South Korea.
That's exciting, though.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. I wonder.
Squarely in the middle age demographic. 35 to
Wait.
44.
Okay.
Well, that is what we're trying to aim for, right?
We need
Yeah.
to diversify our gender.
Why is it mostly female?
80% female.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what we can do.
No non-binary listeners, so we should improve that as well.
All right. I don't know how you
Yeah.
find those.
I don't know.
All right. Well, till next time.
We also said that on all the time in season one.
Yeah, we did.
And on the third or fourth, someone said, "Do we have to start everyone like that?" And
Oh,
within
really?
A few minutes, we say, "All right, well, I guess that's it."
I have some questions for you guys.
Okay.
Not like, this is like real life questions. So we have a Vegas trip potentially planned,
Yeah.
or supposed to. Is that not happening anymore?
It's not happening anymore. Sorry, it
Found
just
out yesterday.
it just was decided. Ashley's job doesn't feel like it's beneficial for her to go and they don't want to pay for her and her boss to both go. So unfortunately, oh, Chris.
I wish I could say it's the first time Ashley disappointed me, but
Do you want to just go, Chris?
kind of. That was going to be my last hurrah before the
I know.
fatherhood.
Why don't you come out here? I think
Well, I don't think so.
one of our families having a graduation party that weekend.
No. Can you
It's
buy a
not-
slot machine to put it at the
Yes.
party?
I will.
Vegas is one of those places you can just go by yourself and be fine, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But what were you going to ask? What were you going to say about it?
I wanted to figure it out if it was happening.
Oh, man.
Details.
I know. I'm sad, too.
I thought
know,
the
it
plan
was-
was if that didn't happen, you were coming out here.
Well, that is the plan. But have you seen tickets to Seattle?
Yes, I have. I have to
They're-
buy them to Maryland.
They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I think for me and Grayson and Ashley to go, it's about $4,000.
I just finance it
Yeah, that's stupid.
through
Who
a firm. A firm.
But don't you want him to come out there when you have the baby?
Whatever.
Give or take.
Yeah. No, they are very expensive. I think
they
our
are.
flight in a couple weeks it was like a grand each, a little over $1,000. So, yeah, it sucks. Gas is expensive right now. It's not getting any better.
Yeah. Do you find it more expensive now in Seattle?
Gas?
In general.
Yeah. Yeah. Gas is firmly above $5 out here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I filled up the car yesterday. It was $5.15.
Oh, no.
Um,
That's high.
Oh my! Wait a second though. It didn't cost you $515. Oh, okay. All right. I was
Jesus
gonna be like,
Christ, Jay.
what?
I'm not driving around a boat.
What is he? Yeah, he's not flying places.
I didn't know. I was like, what the hell are you filling up?
No.
Amazing.
The other stuff, I don't know. I don't have a fish seems cheaper out here, which
That
I guess makes
sense.
sense.
Well, I
like,
guess the type of fish, yeah.
milk and stuff, I have no baseline.
I don't know why it would be more expensive because if most of the stuff is coming from the middle of the country, what does it matter if it goes right or left?
Middle of the don't they have a bunch of cows in California as well?
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, they don't do a lot of it on the East Coast. So if anything, you would think it'd be more expensive on
I
the
think
East
the
Coast.
milk I buy is more expensive because it comes in the fancy glass bottles and it's from New Jersey. So
That does sound like something you would do.
Yeah, of course, there's Jersey cows. That was silly of me to say there were no
yeah,
on the East Coast, but milk in glass bottles, huh?
it's good. It's really good.
I don't have any dairy,
And
so
you
I
have
don't
that
have dairy milk.
film on the top or whatever.
Yeah, where it like collects.
Congeals. Yeah, I chew on that in the morning.
Kidding me?
Yeah, he chews on that every morning, Michelle. Come on.
I'm gonna go throw up.
But yeah, a lot of things are expensive out of here. Me and Sarah are going through a rough patch where she keeps quoting me prices on things and then they're quadrupling in price by the time we have to pay for it. And I don't understand what's happening.
Is that everything?
Is she really getting?
Like, we hired people to come move. We had a bunch of styrofoam that was in the garage from when we first moved in.
Okay.
And styrofoam is really difficult to get rid of, especially if you have a lot of it. You can't just,
Okay.
like, throw it out.
Oh, you can't?
I mean, you can, but you have, like, it's weird out here. Our garbage cans are really small.
Oh, so it's not like a dumpster.
And the recycling cans are the big ones because they want
I
you
just
to
throw
recycle.
everything. I throw everything out. Boxes. I don't care.
So we could have done that. We could have, like, put a bunch in a bag, like, each week and slowly got rid of it. We just decided to hire people to come remove it. And she told me, it was before I came to Minnesota, and she was like, it's going to cost $200 for them to come, clear out stuff. They could move some stuff around as well because we're moving around furniture because of the baby. So I was like, okay, $200, no problem. And then we were in Minnesota, and she's like, actually, it's going to be like $600. And I'm like, how does that happen?
What? Wait. But didn't they quote you a price?
That's vastly different.
I don't know. I don't know how it happens.
I don't know either.
I'd be okay if she told me it was 600 off the bat, and then I could process that and
Styrofoam
plan
is
for
so light.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
there's
even need muscles.
there's a fee on top for styrofoam. There's just a fee.
When
like
you
a-
bring it somewhere,
Who knew
Like when you
styrofoam was
dispose
so
of it.
difficult?
It's a bitch. It's a real
let
bitch.
it go in the wild. That's what I would do.
Because that's where all styrofoam goes. The
Let
wild.
the animals eat it.
Yeah, I mean, let them deal with it.
So yeah, I'm dealing with that. What else am I dealing with? It's still wet here. Never stops raining. I thought it stopped by now. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yesterday was a nice day. And apparently there's 1 month a year where it gets extremely hot, but we don't have any AC. So I have to plan for that as well.
How long is it so hot for?
A month.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe buy a portable AC.
So Seattle doesn't have any air conditioning at all?
We have in the bedrooms, we have like a wall unit up on the wall,
Oh, so
But
that'll
the-
work.
but there's no centralized air anywhere else. So like in my office, it gets hot because my PC's running at all time.
Yeah.
So in the summer, I'm gonna die in here.
But you could get like a portable
Yeah, like
air
a
conditioner
floor
that you
one.
can move from like room to room as needed, where there's no. But at least you'll be good sleeping.
Yeah, that's
And then
good.
you can have it in the office, and then if you need it upstairs in your living room or whatever, you can move it. That'll be not too bad.
I don't know. I'm getting old. I can't keep moving stuff up these steps.
I put my air conditioning on yesterday for the first time because it's went from being cold to being like so humid.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely muggy.
Maryland weather. It's the best. It's the best. Well, do we have a topic for today, or are we just kind of shooting the shit?
No, I have a topic. I have something we can discuss.
Well, I want to talk about you for a bit. I haven't seen you in a while. So
Okay,
what's
what do you
new?
wanna-
What's been going on?
Nothing. We've just kind of been recovering from COVID.
Are you back to work yet?
Yeah, I was started back at work on Wednesday.
How long were you out?
I was out from Wednesday to Wednesday, to tell you the truth.
A week.
Yeah,
That's big
so
for you.
yeah, I know.
Grayson went back to Grandpa's on Thursday.
Yes,
Okay.
he was at his he was at my father-in-law's on Wednesday. And then we started rehearsals for the show.
Excellent.
So that's now an extra layer of stuff we got to figure out. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. You know, we're both working, just trying to stay out of trouble.
Any good movies? Have you seen Doctor Strange yet?
I have not seen that yet. I imagine you have.
I have.
Were you a fan?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
Fantastic Beast movie.
I heard that was a
Fantastic
snoozer.
Beat.
It's funny you say that because Michelle and Dad both fell asleep.
I know. That's why I heard it was a snoozer. And Mom
Just
said
at
she
the
was
begin-
fighting back, falling asleep.
Just at the beginning, then it got better. It did get better.
Is the problem
But
Johnny
yeah.
Depp's not in it? Is that the
Well,
problem?
I have a problem with that. The guy did an okay job. I mean, nothing against him, but
Who's it? Mad Mickelson?
yeah, he's no Johnny Depp.
He's a good villain, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if I didn't know Johnny Depp was supposed to be in it, I'd be okay with it. But I'm a big fan of Jude Law.
You
Has
always
that-
have been.
I always have been. 'Cause
Has
for
that
the way he
case been
speaks-
decided yet?
No, they took a break this week. I think they're back next week.
Gotcha.
Does he still have my phone?
I'm on a staircase kick. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, the one on HBO Max?
So I started watching the one on HBO.
Yeah.
But then it made me want to rewatch the
We watched the other one. The one on HBO is real good, but the problem is like it only comes out once a week, and I'm like, I want to see the next
Oh.
one. I should rewatch that other one, but Colin Firth does a good job playing that guy, even with his mannerisms and stuff.
It's so weird. It's such a weird case.
It is a weird case.
Because it's
Yeah.
like the injuries don't seem like it's an accident. But then the
Not at all.
proof to prove that it's not an accident is terrible. Like you can tell the prosecution's lying. But then they still win, even though they had a terrible case and they didn't prove anything. And it's just like,
But in the miniseries, like when they reenact the scene twice, once kind of they show a timeline, like when he says he's innocent, like the timeline of her doing it accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, they do it when they kind of say like, no, he did it, right? So then he's involved. But the scene, there's so much blood.
Yeah.
And the actress does such a good job of just like, there's just blood. And she's just like making and like convulsing. It's just, they're terrible.
Oh.
Yeah, but good. I mean, well acted. But yeah, it's crazy.
That does sound crazy.
Yeah.
Gross.
I mean, and when the accident, she's just walking up the stairs and she just slips and falls back. And it's crazy. Like you think about that. Like as I was walking down my stairs, I'm like, be careful. Don't fall.
Did you actually walk like that?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
I did
Yeah.
a little bit.
No, there's a really powerful line in it where he's like, yeah, I said goodnight to her at the pool, and that's the last time I saw her alive. And it's just like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, when you think about if it wasn't, I mean, but again, there's something off with that guy. I mean,
Is it because he's gay?
I don't know.
I don't think so much so that he was bisexual. I think it's the fact that he lied about it.
Well, just his mannerisms,
Well,
like
did he
just
lie about it? You don't know if he lied about it.
Yeah, I don't. Usually, you could be like, yeah, I think he did it, and most of me thinks he did, but it just seems such a weird way to do it.
No, I don't think he did it.
No, but I was saying if he did, it's such a weird way to do it.
So you believe that she died by accident? That it was completely unintentional what happened to her?
Yeah, just based on like the confined space and with the blood
Do it there.
and
Yeah.
the blood spatter and stuff, it's just like an awkward place to beat someone to death.
But then they kind of said, well, maybe the reenactment was like he kind of pushed her outside the stairs. She fell and banged her head. And then at that point, he was kind of like, well, I got to kill her.
Yeah, but the whole cast off patterns throws me off. The fact that there's none like up high or up on the ceiling.
But what about the first person he knew who fell down the stairs?
I mean, that's a crazy coincidence.
And they said like she didn't have a brain aneurysm from exhuming her body. Like, isn't that? But again, if you did it one time, why would you do it again?
I don't trust the prosecution. Like, there's a bunch of things where you can tell they're blatantly lying, and then the one guy, the expert, got in trouble, and because he was lying. So it's just like,
And that's why he was released, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But then he was found guilty.
No, but he was guilty. But then they overturned it.
So he's free now?
Yeah, he's free now.
He's free.
He got
didn't know that.
released in 2017. So he was in jail for like 14 years.
Oh.
But here's the thing. So there was the other case beforehand that there was a lot of blood and stuff. She fell down the stairs. But if that was an accident, then it makes sense that the other one's an accident too, because they're very similar.
Right, but how many? I mean, that right there is suspicious too. Like how many?
The first one wasn't his wife or anything. It was just those two girls' mother. But like, why would he want her dead?
Maybe because he wanted the children.
That's
Wow. But again, here's my thing. If you're like this much of a criminal mastermind, why would you do the same crime scene twice? That just seems...
Yeah, but you're making it seem like he planned her death. I don't think that's what the prosecution was trying to say. I think the
well, it was
prosecution...
first-degree murder.
No, but they were trying... But I think that might have been an ambitious thing for them to go after. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think anyone thought this was a planned murder. I think that's part of the problem.
That's
I think
what he found guilty on.
No, I know, but I think the prosecution went for the wrong thing. I think it's much easier to portray a crime of passion.
No, I think they went for the wrong thing too, because in the miniseries,
They always do.
at the episode, it's where she comes in from the pool and goes to use his computer and finds gay porn, and basically is in the house when he comes in and confronts him. And then she says, like, I'm on a divorce. And she went to walk up the stairs, and he grabbed her and like pushed her, and she fell and banged her head. So basically that's not premeditated.
Correct. That's what I mean. I think
manslaughter.
there's a better argument for that. I think that would have been easier to prove.
That
Which I think
makes
is why it
more
was
sense.
overturned. It was overturned because you got somebody lying, and then but again, I don't know why he was ever found. I don't think jurors, it's not how bad you think the case is like, well, that's murder one. That's not what it means.
Yeah, you really have to, which is why I think so many of these times with these kind of televised cases, when the person that people believe is guilty turns out to be set free, it's usually because the prosecution is too ambitious and they go for a much larger.
Well, that's the headline one, right? First degree murder is like the big ticket.
But
item.
to prove that, it has to be without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, not really.
They make people think.
But then they overturned it.
They make people think like if you came home one day and you were fighting with Ashley and you stabbed her and 50 times, that's first degree murder because it was really a bad murder. But that's not what it means. It means you came home knowing I'm going to kill Ashley today.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they overturned it 14 years later.
Still, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yours makes a lot more sense, Michelle.
Well, yeah, that's what was interesting. That's what they just showed in the last episode is that version of it. And you're like, because, she comes in and you're like, oh, didn't they show this scene when it was an accident? But then she goes to almost walk up the stairs and then she says, I got to send that email. So she goes into his office and pulls it up. And then that's there.
Interesting.
And then she's waiting for him when he comes in from the pool, whenever that was.
Yeah, my whole thing was motive as well. It's almost like she'd be more motivated to kill him than he would or her.
Yeah, because I mean, in this show, you're basically seeing he hasn't really written a book or anything, and he keeps the house is having trouble. His two sons are f-ups, and she has all this money, and he keeps taking all this money from her. So you're right. You would think in the flip side, especially since after she died, the money went to her daughter, which she turned against him. She thinks he's guilty. So he didn't really get anything from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once again, you're making it out to be like, if you're making it seem like she would have a motive to kill him because he lied, but her confronting him and in fact ruining his picture perfect life of what he clearly wasn't. I mean, that in itself is, you act emotionally when somebody threatens.
But that's not murder one.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say, that, I'm not completely convinced that he might not have planned the murder, but it's a sloppy job, which to me leads more so towards manslaughter than an accident.
Yeah.
When he pushed her, I don't think he was trying to kill her.
Well, I could see what Michelle was saying. They're having a fight. They're arguing. She goes to go upstairs. He's angry and yanks at her, and she falls back.
Correct.
That seems
correct.
And then when she bangs her, that was a bad. When she bangs her head, that's almost the blow that kills her eventually. And he starts choking her.
It's the blow heard around the world.
Choking her. They're saying that's when the blood is she's coughing up blood. That's the splatter.
See, I don't buy that.
And then he doesn't even kill her though with his hands. When he's done choking her, she's still somewhat alive, but she's bleeding. I mean, the blood.
See, I could almost see him pulling her hitting her head, all that blood, then him going going almost in shock, and her trying to get up and slipping and falling back down.
And that
coughing.
did happen. I mean, that somewhat happened even when in both ones. When the accidental one, she got up and fell and banged her head again, and that really what did her in. In this one, after he choked her, she was still trying to get up.
Yeah, but he would have blood all over him, wouldn't he?
Then she lost consciousness. Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't understand either. Yeah.
Interesting. It's an interesting case. Super interesting.
Yeah.
I basically told Sarah she can never die accidentally because
it always has to be a purposeful death.
You're right. When a woman accidentally dies in the house, I feel like all the time you're like.
But I'll tell you right now, if I accidentally die in the house, she did it.
Oh, I'll go after her.
She did it.
Yeah, that tracks.
So. All right.
Okay. All right.
What was your topic, Jay?
I said it. No, it's not depressing. It's kind of weird to do a segue into.
Let's
it
talk
now,
about
but-
abortion.
Nope. That's not what I was going to talk about. No, what I've been thinking about and what I thought was kind of an intriguing subject is things that sort of that on the onset is very difficult, but positive things have come from it. So what I was kind of focusing on was more so like grief and loss and what positive things have come from the certain grief and loss. And there's this this graphic novel I read years ago. I think it was called like Identity Crisis, and throughout the whole book Batman is trying to discover who's killing all of these people that are associated with superheroes. And his main through line is who benefits from these murders, because whoever has benefited from it is the person that's probably doing it. And it might be something simple that is fueling all of these actions. So when we think about something like grief, and how there could be anything positive from the loss of a loved one or the tragedy and stuff in the world, you think like, what is the point of this? Who benefits from this? Why do we have this? I just thought it would be an intriguing subject to kind of discuss, the benefits of loss in our own lives and how that's become a positive thing.
Well, I mean, I think going back to the podcast, I think early on we touched on Michael passing away. And obviously it's hard to kind of see a lot of positives from that, right? To see someone die so young with their kids so young. But I think a positive is, we've talked about this, we were always close as a sibling unit before, but I think it if anything, made us closer, you know? And not to say we wouldn't have been close if Michael was still alive, but I think it makes you kind of look at things a little bit different and kind of appreciate what you have, because what we have as a sibling unit and a family unit is not the norm. And I think we maybe thought it was the norm a little bit because that was our experience. And even our cousins, like, they all get along with each other. But like, I think that kind of made us put it in perspective. Like, this is something that's unique and special. And, we need to make sure we know that and make sure we're present at things and that we go out of our way to hang out with each other and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's the positive, right? Agreed?
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I have a couple of positive things that came from Michael's passing that I wasn't expecting, but just kind of happened. One of them is, it's been like a great motivator for me in like situations where like I'm struggling, or like if I'm working out and I'm running and I have like a half mile to go and it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's easier for him to be like, well, Michael can't do this, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
And it's a great way to just like push myself past like exhaustion or the point where I'm at work and I'm struggling. I'm like, well, Mike can't do this anymore. I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to do it. Right. So that's one way. The other way is when Michael passed away, it was a pretty rough time for me because I was down south living by myself. I had moved down there chasing love, which you should never do. Word of advice for anyone listening. Don't ever do that.
I told him not to.
Yeah.
I think we all told him not to.
So that didn't work out. So that happened first, and then Michael passed away. Then I also lost my job, and then I lost my car. And then, so it was a really rough time. And a lot of nights just in tears, just crying, just a mess. But like, because of all that, like, I made it through all of that. So like now there's just like nothing scares me or worries me anymore. Like, there's not, I know it's going to be fine. And so it's given me more confidence. And like, when scary things happen now, like our father had open heart surgery, like, I knew that even if the worst thing happened, we'd be okay. Like, it's going to be okay. And so it made it less scary for me. Because, yeah, I was just sort of at peace with everything, even in the worst case scenario. So that's a positive. It caused me so much grief that now
you refuse to feel any.
Grief no longer. Not that it wouldn't suck, but everything's gonna be okay. Yeah.
Grief is tricky that way.
What about you?
Yeah, I always find it, fascinating with the idea of grief and with tragedy. I mean, even now we, in the news, not even talking about our own tragedy, our own personal tragedies and stuff like that, but like in dealing with the news and with this and with that, it's why on one side of the street is all this happening, on the other side of the street all of this horror is happening, and it's very easy to kind of become desensitized to it and kind of lose hope in humanity in the world by thinking, hey, why does God let these things happen? Or why do these tragic things have to happen? And, living in the world, tragedy and loss is a part of a human life. And even the most horrific losses are human. I mean, they're human negligence. It's human mistakes. It's, there's been another shooting, which 10 people were killed in Buffalo, New York. This just happened. So what's the point of hearing that? Like, what? Such a senseless act of violence. Those that hear it, obviously we're not affected by it, but it's a part of our world now. Like, what does it do for us? What's the point? If you're not directly affected by that, what's the point of hearing about it? Because we can't save those people. I mean, yeah, you can get into the whole conversation. Well, we can advocate for more gun legislation and all that stuff. And that's true as well. That's the survivors of any tragedy like that are meant to step forward to prevent a tragedy like that happening again. But if we've learned anything, is that if humans want to do harm, they're going to do harm. It doesn't, yes,
True.
the what they are using might be more readily available. But I mean, I'm of the belief that tragedy really can't be prevented. I feel like perhaps the avenue of which it's inflicted can be changed, but I feel like that's a much larger to go back and say, how could we have prevented September 11th? I don't feel like that is the right conversation.
I mean, and that's the thing. You can say, well, yeah, if that was prevented, but then life would be so, like, it wouldn't be the same life. So that's kind of that thought process too. Like, yeah, wouldn't it be great to go back and change it? Well, yeah, but then the people wouldn't be the same people. Like, we wouldn't be the same versions of ourselves had Michael not passed away. And maybe that's good. And obviously there's some good that would be of that, but then it's kind of like, well, but these are the versions of ourselves we're supposed to be, probably.
Well, and also kind of going off of that too, to kind of go off of like shoulda, woulda, coulda, or whatever. There's an episode of a show that I think the show is called The Good Fight, and in one of the episodes, it's like an alternate universe where Hillary won the election. Mm-hmm. And at first, all the characters, it's more of a liberal type show, I'd say. But the characters are like, oh my God, Hillary won. This is great. Everything's great. But because Hillary won, Harvey Weinstein never was brought to justice because he was a contributor to her campaign. And there was never a women's march. There was never a Me Too movement.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Wonderful Life paradox. Like, I feel like that's that movie that every show does some version of. It's they'll be better off without me because you think, well, my life is worthless, or I don't have all this money. What do I have to do with anyone else? But like, that's the thing. Something like Michael dying, what that triggered for us, for his kids, even for like our cousins and aunt, like it ripples and changes so many people, the way they maybe approach their children, or how they look at their lives, or what they take for granted. All of that kind of stuff can kind of change that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, something for the one side, like, to go off of the subject that I just said, to those people, the voting in of Trump was the end of the world. But by that action, it had a ripple effect that had other things that would never have happened if this horrible thing didn't happen. So it's almost like this tragedy, or in their minds, or whoever, this action had to happen to then bring this good thing down the line. So that was just an interesting.
And I think like tragic events like that, whether they're close personal deaths or like 9/11 or shootings like that, it always was like it's almost like a reset in like at least my life, where it puts things like I go about my life and maybe I don't call mom and dad as much, maybe I don't talk to you guys as much, and I just get busy in life, then something like this happens and it's like, you know what, I should talk to my family more, or I should spend more time with Sarah. It almost like draws you back in line and puts things in clear perspective when these things happen.
And I think that's why God, to show you the face of God, he allows you to see the face of the devil. And
yeah, I mean, I think it's true what they say, like you never appreciate things or really know how important things are until you suffer loss. I mean, that's true. If everything was fine all the time and you never wanted for anything or everyone was living forever, then you would take it all for granted, because
it wouldn't be precious anymore.
It isn't. And that's the key. Life is precious, and that's how you know it is, by going through that.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. It makes it, and in some ways it's kind of comforting, because kind of going off what Chris says, tragedy will visit again, and we don't know when that will happen. And so to know, though, that on the other side of it could be a vastly different life and a different family than we've come to know. Our family has changed, as anyone will change. I mean, New York, September 11th completely changed the entire world in one brief moment. And so is it a positive or a negative? Like, there were positives that came from that. I mean, so it's just kind of an intriguing concept to talk about.
I mean, and I think another thing, I don't want to say learn from it, but like kind of and I'll try not to cry when I talk through this story.
Okay.
But no, like, and again, obviously how mom and dad handle it is, that was a horrible thing. But like my experience with somebody losing a child previously was grandma, when my Uncle George died. And we lived with grandma at the time. And I remember when they came back from the hospital the day he died, I mean, like the wail, like I'm getting upset. But anyway, she was just in bad shape. Like, it was traumatizing, I would say, right? Like, yeah. And so obviously we weren't out there when Mike died, but we flew out the next day. And I the whole time I was like, oh my, like, I was just waiting for that, because that was my, but I think that was my experience with it. But like, she handled it so much better for whatever reason.
Mom.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that we saw.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, grandma was horrible forever. And, like, grandpa ended up kind of helping, but then, he ended up with cancer a year later. So, and, some say, well, maybe, it's maybe because he was trying to keep his emotions in check. And not that they were okay. I'm not saying that, but I just think, because Michael was younger and had much younger kids, and it was worse in some ways, right? I mean, both cancer. So, but like, she just, handled it with so much more grace. And, so then it was like, okay, well, I learned that too. Like, okay, grief is never the same for two people either. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, that was crazy. You remember grandma's, right?
I do.
I mean, it was crazy.
I do not. No recollection.
No, thank goodness, because it was.
I remember.
It was heartbreaking.
The funeral.
Uncle George's. Or grandpa's.
Well, they were in the same exact place, right?
Yeah.
So it's
they
hard to distinguish which one was which.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think I learned that too. Like, but I think we talked about this, like how the two died as well. Like, I think Michael was at peace with it, as much peace as one could be at, but he was a very religious, spiritual person. And I think, whereas from what I know, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, Uncle George was afraid, a bit more afraid, and didn't have that. And so I think that could probably be part of it too, is because mom knew he was at peace, so she was able to a little bit, where I think grandma saw that fear, and then that obviously made it even worse. So that could be. So that's a lesson learned as well. I mean, not that you can determine how you handle that situation when you're close to dying, but I
He
guess
handled it well.
Yeah, he did. He handled it.
Shockingly so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just
that's
for
the-
perspective, he's sitting there on his deathbed and he's asking how my ex-girlfriend's doing.
Yeah.
That's what always got me.
Yeah.
It's just like, shut up, man. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of
Man, deep.
I'm trying to think any other things. Like any other like not so much death maybe, but any other bad situations that ended up being like a blessing in kind of in disguise.
my divorce.
Yeah,
My
there
divorce.
you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
divorce, yeah. And I would say even like, there were times obviously when we often talked about this, like it's maybe not as severe, but like, dad obviously right before mom was pregnant with Katie, dad lost his job. And if you remember, mom then had to go on bed rest with Katie. So it was a blessing in the fact that dad was there to take care of the rest of us. But even that, I think parts like that, like it was always kind of up and down, sometimes financially, whatever. But I think that brought us closer together as a family, right? And I mean, I think it's good because there's a lot of families where their father is at work 80, 90 hours a week and their kids never saw them.
Yeah.
And I think we could say even when he was working, he was there, which I think
Yeah.
and was significant.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And so
I had to go to the store the other day, to the computer store, and I was planning on buying a part, and I got there and it was sold out, which sucked. But then I just bought the more expensive one, and it was better, so that worked out well for me.
That's
So-
pretty much the same. Yeah, that's the same thing.
So there you go. Hills and
you are
valleys.
you're so strong.
Life lessons. You're quite the survivor. It must be the beanie.
It's the beanie.
At least it's not a man bun, which I thought it
Yeah,
was at first.
I mean, if Michael never died, I'd never wear beanies, I don't think.
he would make fun of you.
He'd
would-
make fun of me for everything.
He'd say
my
some
life.
bad things.
That's
about your
true.
babies. Yeah.
He'd say bad things about your beanie.
Well, all
God,
right.
he would be a real pain in the ass, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Especially if older. Ugh.
All crotchety.
Crotchety. He was crotchety in his 30s. I can't imagine what he'd be like in his 40s.
And just so
Just a-
ugly.
He'd be
Oh,
he'd be such a he wouldn't be attractive anymore.
Jason.
He's kind of like an
We look similar.
Yeah.
he's got a squished up face.
That's terrible.
It is. I hope he haunts you
Today,
tonight.
today's Katie's anniversary, 1 year.
She did it.
I don't
It
care.
was a good time, a good wedding.
It was.
No, of course I care. Well done. Congratulations, kids.
And Kieran's birthday.
Oh, thanks for the reminder.
That's today.
Yeah, today. He was pretty busy though. I think he
He's 10,
Had a-
11?
11. Had a soccer tournament and then they had a tornado at their house the other day.
Inside their house.
Well, their neighbor's tree came down and crushed her new shed, the one who had all that work done, the house right to the
Oh,
right.
wow.
They had to go in the basement. And Jenny had to come up to get Charlotte's stuffed animal. And she heard like that train noise they say is.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. So, but they lost internet. So I guess Jim was taking Kieran to like the coffee shop to go on the internet.
Why?
Jenny said they're pretending they're in college, I guess. She doesn't know why they're doing that.
Just got to play Roblox.
Yeah.
I guess so.
So, yeah.
All right, well, we're at the 45-minute mark.
Oh, that went
So-
quick.
Yeah, we just talked about murder, talked about death. Another lighthearted podcast.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
I'll bring the topic next time, and maybe I'll make it more lighthearted.
You always make it more like
You're trying to make me cry.
I'm not, but it's like we go from one subject where we're talking about some serious stuff, and then Michelle's like, "What's your favorite color?"
I didn't ask that. Red, because you steal from me.
I mean, it's good. We need the lighthearted.
It's very seesaw. This podcast is very seesaw.
That's
Jason so
okay.
far brought abortion and death to this podcast this year.
Life is a seesaw.
But I didn't come at it in the same way.
All right, you're right. You're right.
All right,
Life
well,
is a seesaw. That's a good name for the podcast.
the Rangers are on tonight, so
No,
hopefully they
game
don't
7.
lose.
Game 7, I know.
Um,
I was going to watch it with Dad, but then I said I didn't watch any of the others, so I'm going to,
I'm not watching this one.
yeah.
yeah, so I'm just going to stay at home.
All right. Anything else for the folks?
No, I guess, no, we were going to see if we could get our sister-in-law who's heading back
Oh, Mackie.
to this area on the podcast. Maybe she'll want to come. She's a fan now. If we get Jason to wear the Ukrainian army shirt, I bet you she'll come.
We'd have
I
to
can't
do.
remember what that was.
We'd have to do a
With the
pre-screen
bullet
interview
holes.
first.
Can you please wear it on Tuesday? Well, it looks like
The one that said "Rise and Fall."
Rise and Fall, and it has bullet holes in it. It's
That's
incredible.
all right.
Anyways, yeah. So maybe she'll want to come on.
Yeah.
We'll ask her.
Maybe our other brother will want to come on.
Maybe. Probably
That could be
not,
fun. No, definitely not.
but- yeah. And we get him if he changes voice.
Make him talk like really slow.
He said we can call him by his name. He said he'd
Oh.
prefer his name over Juju. So
Okay.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. Although I think Juju would be very cute.
Yeah, little Juju.
my little Juju bee.
Like Jojo, not Jew.
That's JoJo.
Oh yeah.
What?
Jou.
Or just Ju?
Juju. All right.
Juju.
All right. On that note,
And on that note.
thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.